Okay. Season 2, Episode 16, In the Shadow of Zadoom. Zadoom? Something like that. I had it a moment ago and then I forgot. Oh well. Zadoom or something. Kazadoom. Yeah. Shit got real. I mean, shit's constantly getting real in Babylon 5. But shit got, like, extra super real in this episode. Because we finally found out who the fuck the Shadow People are. And the kind of just, who knows about them. So, okay, first of all, I want to crow my awesomeness of guessing for a moment, because I actually did, some of my insane guesses were correct. I did guess correctly that the Icarus's destruction had something to do with discovering the Shadow People. Namely, that they discovered the Shadow People, and then the Shadow People were like, nope, and squashed them. And the other guess I had was, okay, fine, the Vorlons are not the Shadow People, but they are an ancient enemy of the Shadow People. So, give myself half a point for that. Because I did make that guess at one point. I made the other guess way more often. So, that's exciting. So, Kosh and Delenn are basically like, Sheridan, we're gonna tell you a thing. And so then they tell him about this. But mainly this is because he's looking through some old junk of his wife that he never really went through. And it includes information about the Icarus and everyone who's aboard, so Garibaldi's having a look at it, and he goes, hang on, I recognize this guy. And it's fucking Morden, or whatever his name is, who's on the station. So, intense. Oh my god. It was just really creepy. Okay, this episode also had a couple of other things going on, like, okay, when did Veer take a level in badass? Because, not even in badass, just in, like, awesome. There's just, I want an episode that is just about how Veer, Lanier, and Natash, fuck, whatever her name is, are all, like, really awesome and should hang out. Anyway, yeah, but seriously, so much love for Veer in this one. Just pretty much being like, yeah, Morden, I hate you, you're awful. Although I was kind of like, oh, don't tempt fate. Because who knows? Maybe he will arrange for you to see his head on a pike right before you die. Before you die. You know, whenever you say, I want this to happen before I die, I'm like, hang on, specify that you also want to be like 98 at the time, you know, just in case this happens next week, and then it's like, oh shit. Let it happen like 5 minutes before I die, and let it be when I'm about 95 years old. You know, you want to, like 40 years before I die. You know, just to be on the safe side. Okay, oh my god, the other thing that happened, speaking of death, is right at the end, Sheridan is all like, Kosh, teach me about the Shadow People so I can go to Khazad-dûm and fight them. And Kosh is just like, if you go there, you will die. And I was like, oh no, you didn't. Babylon 5, if at some point Sheridan dies, I will never forgive you. Actually, if any of the main characters die, I'll never forgive you. Keep that in mind, you know, because my threats from 20 years later are obviously terrifying. You know, are obviously relevant. But yes, I don't really have that much else to say, just that, oh, and then there was just some random stuff with Dr. Franklin and his made-up religion. That was kind of interesting, I guess. I mean, okay, future religion. Yeah, so, whatever. I continue to be terrified of the shadows, and I continue to definitely enjoy the show, and I'm really, really excited to know what happens next. Alright, episode 17, Knives. So, this one had two parallel plots. One was about some sort of weird alien ending up inside Sheridan's head, and he started hallucinating things, and then he realized that he needed to go back to this one place so it could return to its home or something. So that plot was whatever. But the other one was about some old friend of Londo shows up on the station, and it culminates in them dueling to the death. I don't know what to say about this, really, other than just, like, God, Londo, your life! Like, there's just the scene at the very end of the episode where he's talking to Veer, you know, and he's like, maybe, it's made me realize that maybe all these choices I made may not be the right ones, which, really? It's taking you this long to figure that out? You were, like, composed entirely of bad choices, Londo. But anyway, and Veer's like, well, then it's not too late. You can, like, make good choices now. You know, trying to be positive. Londo's just like, nope. I'm like, oh, Londo, make good choices. Please. For me. But yeah, I don't have much to say about it. I don't know. I liked that apparently there's a baseball diamond on B5. That was cool. There was actually some pleasant-looking sweaters on evidence in the last scene. Both Sheridan and Franklin were wearing what looked like acceptable sweater wear. I'm just thinking it because mostly the clothes in the show are awful. So I was like, yeah. Well, okay. When I see the clothes, I mean the human characters' clothes, because I did spend the rest of this episode just being like, Londo, all of your clothes are amazing, and I would, oh my god, like his jacket is so fancy. I love it. If I went to big conventions and if I cosplayed, I would totally go as Londo because that jacket. You know, so if I were something completely different with completely different habits. That's really all I have to say about it. That's about as exciting as it got. Yeah, so, in summary, yay. Also, I liked that the scene at the beginning with Londo and Veer singing some opera. What is it with alien races and having opera be like their type of music? Just, can we have an alien race that'll be like, we have the greatest of rock stars? Like, I realize that makes no sense, but it would be funny. I'm just saying. And, yes. So, until next time. Another episode today, because I was on a roll. 18, Confessions and Lamentations. The fuck is wrong with you, Babylon 5? What the fuck is wrong with you? Oh, let's have an episode about a plague, and then let's end it with it killing all the fucking pebbly-headed aliens. Why would you do that? And why would you introduce that adorable little alien child as a character and then have her die? And why would you do these things to me? Why would you make Delenn and Lanier really sad? Why would you do that? Because I like them a lot, and I don't want them to be sad. Okay, yeah, that's what happened. Franklin finally got a plot that I, like, gave two shits about, so that was cool. I feel like I should care more about his character, but now it's just like, Franklin, you're okay. You do things. Whatever. But yeah, this didn't have a happy ending. Like, when they're like, oh, we finally figured this out, and we have a cure, and then they go into, like, the section where they've been keeping all the sick alien Markevs or whatever, and they just open it, and they're all like, no, and it's like, oh my god, are you shitting me? What? Why would you do that? On a happier note, I guess, I pretty much officially, definitely, forever ship Delenn and Sheridan. Like, to the moon and back. So that's fun. Yes, whatever. Just, I can't help it. I loved the wacky bit at the beginning where Delenn is like, oh, well, we'll have you over to dinner, Sheridan. We'll eat, like, Minbari food. And then it's, like, this whole ridiculous ritual with all of it. And I liked how at the end he was like, oh, man. And she was kind of like, we should, like, do this again. And Lanier is just kind of like, pretty sure he doesn't want to spend another 2 days making all this food, which didn't even look very appetizing. It was like, so wait, hang on, it took you 2 days to prepare a salad? What? Okay, you know what? They're aliens, but okay. So yeah, there was much passion of reactions from me with regards to this episode. Yes. It was sad, but it was also really fun. I really liked the alien doctor. He was a really cool character. And I thought the disease was really interesting too. Just kind of like, I don't know, I always like fictional diseases. They're always interesting. So are real diseases. But, yeah, especially when you're probably not going to catch them. This is fascinating. It could kill me, but it can't. Actually, this one, I guess, doesn't infect humans, so we're good. So yeah. That's what happened, and I'm really looking forward to the next one, which I probably won't watch today. But, you know, we'll see. But yeah. So now I mean, you know, like season 1 I kind of had my crack ship. Now I think I have pretty much an official till the end ship. Which, I mean, normally I don't. No, that's not true. I completely would be lying if I said I don't normally do this. I do this. Like for Deep Space Nine, I shipped Kira and Odo from the pilot. Okay, the pilot. It's not even canon that he has a thing for her until like season 3. Or at least he never actually says it until like season 3. But yeah, it's pretty great. And that's all for now. Episode 19, Divided Loyalties. The fuck did I just watch? Okay. In this one, this telepath person, Lyta, shows up and is all like, you guys, for some reason, one of you might be a mole. And it's like a sleeper agent. I swear I've seen some concept very similar to this somewhere else, but I can't remember where right now. Like, I mean, obviously Babylon 5 didn't invent sleeper agents, but the phrase triggering them to become an entirely different person, oh, I don't know what it was. It was probably, I don't know. Whatever. Oh, but it was really good. This episode, like, okay, so first of all, she was all like, it might be one of the command crew, and I was immediately like, no, it's not. It's not going to be. Because why would you do that? And then the bit where she's, like, sending them all the code, and Garibaldi, like, reacts. And then he's just like, oh, I'm trolling you. And then they're all like, are you shitting me? Oh, Garibaldi was great in this one, just for, like, saying things, and then Sheridan being like, this is not the time for jokes. And I was like, au contraire, it is always the time. But oh my god, there's a lot of Ivanova in this. Like, I wanted to give her so many hugs. Like, poor baby. Because, okay, she finally has to be like, Sheridan, I need to tell you a thing. Because there's a reason that I really don't want any psychop in my brain. Because, you know, basically her being like, well, that she's a latent telepath. I was like, what? Mind blown. Like, only so much, only the tiniest bit, but it's enough to get Psychor's attention, and she's kind of like, So I was afraid it was going to be her, but then it wasn't. It was fucking... The fuck's her name? Talia. What? Like, this is depressing, okay? Now, Talia, who we knew, who was, like, she wasn't my favorite character or anything, but I mean, she was a person, so I feel bad now that she's just gone, like, whatever. And I don't even know what was up with her and Ivanova. Something was up, and I just felt, like, really bad. I was like, Ivanova, no. Poor Ivanova. But yeah, so Talia's just like, I'm fucking off. To be evil. Which, I don't know. Okay. Is she just leaving? Like, okay. Oh my god, and Light is, like, really weird. She's just like, gosh, let me see you again. Like, what the fuck? Like, is he that fancy looking that you think about it at night? It's just like, you're kind of freaky. Fuck else. Oh, of course, there was more of Delenn and Sheridan just, like, interacting and me being like, oh my god, you're so cute. So, at least there was that. That sort of, the rest of this is just, like, depressing. But, at least we had them. Oh my god, they're so cute. Sorry. No, you know what? No, sorry. I will take my joy where I can get it. But yeah. I really liked this one. Lots of stuff going on. I feel like I actually don't care about it being Talia as much as I should. I would care a lot more if it was actually one of the command crew, you know? If it was Ivanova, I would be devastated. Or Garibaldi. Like, they're kind of my favorites. You know, and it's just be like, no, why? I'm also not entirely sure how this relates to Mars. I think maybe I just wasn't paying attention during some scene. They probably explained it, but I'm like, what does this have to do with Mars? Or maybe it had nothing to do with Mars, and the episode was just like, let's have this scene on Mars. For no reason. I don't know. Probably not, though. Another sighting of Cuttlefish Man. Oh, and another scene that takes place in the bathroom, thanks. Like, okay, I get that they were, like, we have to have a kind of secret conversation. But, thank you, Babylon 5. Once again. Yeah, that's really it. Stuff's going down. La la la. I'm, yeah, definitely still excited to watch more. Oh, this is so weird, though, like, the idea of it being Talia. Kind of makes me want to go back and, like, rewatch all of Season 1 just to see if there were any bits, like, Garibaldi recalls during this episode, Talia's thing with Kosh, when Kosh and some other guy got her to, like, telepathically mediate some sort of thing that I don't even really remember what it was about. Maybe they never, I don't think they ever explained. But, and she had some just weird flashes of something going on, so it kind of makes me wonder is how involved in all of this Kosh is, because him and Lita, and I'm like, this seems suspect. I don't trust Kosh. I think he's pulling some strings. But hey, whatever. I don't really... Yeah, that's about it. I don't have any insane predictions at the moment. So... well, I will leave you as the episode left me with the impression that Kosh is made of atomic explosions contained within a breathing suit thing. Kosh is made of light. Okay, the end. Oh my god, how cool would that be, though? Like, it's an antithesis to the shadows. Okay, whatever. Episode 20, The Long Twilight Struggle. Okay, so everything happened in this episode. Everything ever. Oh my god. Like, this was just awful. Like, it was all just like, oh, we're gonna attack the darn homeworld, and then Jakara's like, hey, uncle, whatever, they're gonna attack the darn homeworld. I've like figured this out, and his uncle's just like, well, too late. We don't believe you because nobody ever listens when Jakar says things, even though he's always right. Jakar is the Cassandra of the Narn. And then their homeworld gets fucking wrecked, and like tons of people die, and it just ruins everything, and now they're subjugated by the Centauri again, because the fucking Centauri are a bunch of massive tools. And then Londo was all like, here's the terms of the surrender and all this crap. And then Sheridan is like, yeah, well, you can't kick Jakar off the station because he's now under the protection of the Earth government. And Londo's like, And Sheridan is just like, yeah, well, fuck you. And then Jakar gives a little speech about how conquerors always lose eventually, and even if it takes 1,000 years, it'll teach the Centauri again to fuck off and leave them alone. And it was beautiful. And then, like, oh, and also, all this other stuff came together because the dude who's running the computer planet showed up and was like, what's up, Sheridan? Come down and talk to me. By the way, let's be allies. And so, okay, now Babylon 5 is allies of the computer planet. And he made it sound like there's more than one computer planet out there also. And now the Rangers have shown up and they're like, Sheridan, we think we'll tell you about this now. And he is like, yes. And then he gives an awesome little speech at the end. And it was just like, my brain. So, that's how I feel about that. Is that it was insane. And wonderful. And awful. And the worst. And I'm really interested to see how it changes the dynamic. Now that Jakar is not a ambassador. Oh my god, the scene that killed me, though, is when Sheridan is all like, no, dude, Jakar, like, I will help you with any possible way that I can help you. And he's all like, puts out his hand to shake, and then Jakar is like, the last time I shook hands with somebody, or I took someone's hand, we were at war 24 hours later, but then he takes his hand anyway, and I was like, what? So, anyway. Oh my god. So this is really just like wall-to-wall Jakar feels, actually. Londo, yeah, there was some, but I was mostly just kind of like, I'm sorry, I have limited capacity to feel sorry for you, considering your government is, blowing up somebody else's planet. I was like, yeah, no. I mean, he had some bit at the beginning where he was like, I feel like it's just going too fast, and it's going to spiral out of control, which, yeah, it probably will. If I have any predictions, I mean, it's definitely that the spider shadows, are, well, they're using the Centauri. The Centauri are like, oh, we're using you. No. For whatever reason, they wanted this to happen. They wanted an ally. It's a little bit like the Dominion and the Cardassians allying, which is great for the Cardassians for a while, but then it becomes terrible and the worst and awful. So that's my prediction, that it's not going to work out for anybody, least of all the Centauri, because them shadows have got their own plans. But yay, Babylon 5 is a beacon of light or whatever, and yeah. I don't know, this one was just exhausting to watch. I was just sitting like the entire time. So that's all I have to say about it. It was insane. And yes. But I'm almost done with season 2, so that's pretty crazy. I assume that Sheridan is gonna still be here at the beginning of season 3. I think it would, but I think it would be hilarious if the show was always just like, oh, 2 captains for no reason. Guess what his initials are JS again? Our new captain, James Shanahan. Anyway, So yeah, this was like, oh my god, Jakar. It was crazy. So enough. There are only so many times I can say this was crazy and awful than I already have. So goodbye. Okay, we'll keep this one quick. I just watched episode, I think, 21. Comes the Inquisitor. That's what happened to my brain. Okay, so this one was insane. This was like the Vorlons were all like, we have to test you, Delenn, for unspecified reasons. And so they send some creepy dude who turns out to be Jack the Ripper, as you do, I guess, to like yell at her for an hour. Probably longer than that, actually. To yell at her for the episode, and he's pretty much just like, who are you? Why are you here? All this stuff about destiny. And then Sheridan gets involved, and then my Delenn/Sheridan tendencies just sort of flailing all over the place. Oh my god! And then also there's this other plot about Jakar and whatever, and weapons. And oh, there's the scene where Veer like kind of accidentally ended up in the elevator with Jakar, and he was like awkwardly trying to apologize, and it was just, oh my god, Veer. And oh, and Lanier was in like 2 scenes. So confession, I have like this like weird crush on Lanier now. Actually, I think I've had one for like half a season. I don't even know what it is. I think he's cute. Whatever. So yeah, that is a thing that happened. I don't know, I thought it was really good. But I don't have much to say about it. Sorry, there's just all these fucking flies in here and I don't know why. I don't know why. But yeah, so I'm leaving tomorrow, and then my video updates will become more sporadic. I'm not really sure when I'm gonna have time to actually like put videos online, because it takes forever to get them to go up, and I don't want to sit around the library for like 6 hours. Although, who knows, maybe they'll pass through internet and then it won't take that goddamn long to put up one YouTube video that's like half an hour long. Come on. Shouldn't take that long. But anyway, so we'll see. Who knows when you'll even be watching this. But yeah, so that's my life, and Babylon 5, of course, is being super intense, and I'm like, I really want to just sit and watch all of it, but I can't, because I have to actually go through things in the real world. Boo. But yeah, so. Alright, we're back to being super jank and holding it up like this. Episode 22, The Fall of Night. So, I know how I keep saying shit got real, but like, shit continues to get real constantly on the show. It's like all that it does. Oh my god. So in this episode, all the shit got real. Okay, so I guess the main thrust of, actually there were like 15 main thrusts that happened, like all the stuff, like every level. Like, Earth wanted to sign, it turned out that Earth wanted to sign a non-aggression pact with the Centauri, but then a Narn battlecruiser was there, and then Sheridan was like, alright, we'll protect you, but then some Centauri found out about it, because the Night's Watch thing is basically just everybody telling on everybody for stuff, and being jerks. And then, like, the Narn shot at Babylon 5, so Babylon 5 shot back, and it's just super intense. And then, okay, And then somebody tried to assassinate Sheridan, but so okay, no, this is super cool because I love the geography, I don't even know, of Babylon 5, how cool it is. Like, it's got this crazy well, because it has to rotate to create gravity. So Sheridan can jump out of the exploding subway thing, and he can float, but they still have to rescue him because the ground is going to rotate up to hit him. But it was just so cool that it was like, oh, the ground's rotating, and I was like, oh yeah, that's so cool. And then fucking Kosh. We got to see Kosh. Kosh is basically a glowy butterfly that looks like God or something. I'm not really sure. And I don't even know. And the Vorlons freak me out. Like, the Vorlons have apparently been visiting all of these races for centuries and, like, poking them and making things happen. You're kind of like, okay, that's kind of freaky. And so basically the Vorlons are like the aliens that build the black monoliths in 2001: A Space Odyssey. Except maybe a little bit more hands-on. Oh my god. And then Londo didn't see anything. He didn't see any floaty butterfly, glowing butterfly. So that was weird. Like, what? And Kefir, that's his name, X-Wing pilot guy who's been trying to be a character this whole season and failing. I don't know anything about him. Whatever. Was like, I'm going to investigate this weird nightmare spider that I saw in hyperspace or whatever. So he goes to do that, and then I think he died. I'm not really sure. But, well, he went missing, so maybe he's not actually dead, and he'll show up again, who knows. But, sent a video, and so, of course, now everything's going to start coming to a head too quickly because the Vorlons weren't ready, nobody was ready, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, I was flailing at the screen and yelling various things, and it was super, super intense. Oh. And just one bit that made me laugh was when Veer and Lindier are sitting at the bar complaining about how they never know what's going on until after it's happened. I liked that. I was like, oh, you guys have like 5-minute-long bitch sections every week scheduled? That's so nice. I love it. Alright, but yeah, so everything's crazy. I'm really looking forward to the next season, although I don't know when I'm going to watch it. And this show is really, really good. Like, it's like, yeah, let's have crazy long arcs. Let's have the entire show be made up of crazy long arcs. And I'm like, yes, those are my favorite. So, I love it. And there you have it.